Hi, me again. Part 5 of our leader standards discussion. So let's talk a little bit about important talking points for leaders. This is a big deal. Sometimes leaders are not sure what they should be talking about with different levels of the business or different people in the business. So to understand what that is, it's important for you to maybe have a little bit of an insight into what I would consider important talking points for different levels of the business. So let me once again share my screen with you and my whiteboard, and then I can write some notes for you and help to explain what's going on here. I think one of the things that's probably really important noting is how do you deal with the awkward discussion around something not being right? So a target condition not being met, a KPI not going well. And, there's nothing worse than if you see a KPI that's red or trending in the wrong direction, something like that, just walking past it or not mentioning it, becomes the elephant in the room. So, really, what we need to do is recognize that it's there. The whole point of looking at a KPI that's not going well is managing by exception. We're interested in what's not going well because if the focus is there, we can work on fixing it. The conversation you want to have with people is, okay, so they're missing a target condition. Maybe they haven't hit their cycle time for a few hours in their process. You're only there momentarily. You don't know the full story. But if you've had a bit of a discussion with them and they're trying to fix it or they haven't really had time to fix it yet, then the best comment to make is, well, I'm going to come back tomorrow, so let's see how you're going then. And this encourages whomever you're talking to realise that, oh, they're coming back tomorrow, we're going to have the same discussion again. It was awkward this time, it's probably going to be even more awkward next time. So that is a great talking point when you have a KPI that's not hitting the target. It's really important as well, particularly at this kind of stage, that you don't make any kind of big sweeping statements or decisions at a high level, because you'd be very surprised as a leader in a business if you make a large sweeping statement or comment, very quickly that can become considered truth, and it eliminates options as well for people in the business. They start in their own head to eliminate their options. So if you take that off the table for them by maybe using your own gut feel or your own previous experience to make a sweeping statement about a particular situation that you're reviewing, then you take their options away. And we need to be careful with that. Now, who should you be talking about KPIs to? Well, remember who's in charge of the KPIs and making sure we meet the KPIs. It's the managers. So talk KPIs with managers. All right. Remember we talked before in part 4 about giving compliments? Give compliments to team leaders for things you can see that are positive and things they're doing well. Okay. It's important as well to talk about standard work and practice of standard work, which is commonly called katas, with teams. So if you want to really connect with a team member who you as a leader maybe don't know that well, you might be quite disconnected from, or 3 or 4 levels above them, like, talk about their standard work, discuss their standard work with them, ask them about their practice, ask them what they're doing, ask why, and so on and so forth. It's really important for a leader as well to make sense of what is going on. Make sense of the thinking of the teams. Like, you may have come from that environment where that team is now working. You might know quite well what they're doing, but maybe you don't. It's very likely that you don't know exactly what they're up to or how they're doing it. So don't be afraid to just have a talk with them and then ask them if you can stand back and observe them doing the work and make sense of what they're doing and why they're doing it. And if you can do that and maybe ask questions why, that is going to put you in good stead to having a better understanding. And it's also going to lead you to make a sense of the balance in the workflow, like how are they balancing it or how aren't they balancing it. Now, of course, you don't want to make a big light to a team of, sweeping statements like, I see your inventory is building up there. What's going on with that? That's going to become their big focus. Maybe that inventory strategically is meant to be there. You never know. So it's better to maybe talk in private with the manager or with the team leader about the understanding around that and ask why, ask what the reasons are for it. Not saying things like sweeping statements like inventory is bad, why have we got inventory? That's really not going to help. So make sense of what's going on, make sense of the balance in the workflow. The other thing is make sense of the weak points. Remember that so much about lean and Kaizen is about identifying the problems that are occurring, highlighting them, and focusing on them. So you should understand what the weak points are in a process. If you make an effort to put yourself in the shoes of the team and of the team leader when you consider these weak points and make sense of them, it helps you to be a much better leader in asking the right kind of questions that don't become sweeping statements or damaging decisions. You want the team to come up with the ideas and improvements. You want the team leader to be involved in facilitating that. You want your manager to keep pursuing projects and KPIs, and this is what makes a good leader in terms of talking points. If you're strong across these talking points and you never lead a discussion down a certain path or to a certain end, as predetermined by your own experience or gut feel, you give your teams and managers a better opportunity of conducting Kaizen by themselves. And this is very powerful.